Hello, my spicy friends. Today, we're going to take a look at Vigoroth in the Holiday Cup, because Vigoroth is busted. That's just the way it is. You know, this cup for next couple weeks is, well, I'm not even sure how long this cup is going to be a thing, but I know Vigoroth is going to dominate it, that's for sure. But, luckily, there are ways that we can counter Vigoroth. Because for some fucking reason they decided Vigoroth wasn't good enough in limited metas, and they refused to ban it. So now we get to deal with this Pokemon that has counter, Body Slam, and Rock Slide for like some of the best moves in the game on a Pokemon that already has pretty good bulk. So what do we do about Vigoroth? We load our team with hard counters to it. And as far as I'm aware, Palossand is the hardest counter to Vigoroth in the game that's like actually not dog shit. So we're gonna run it. And for the back line, I brought Dunsparce. And the reason for that is that offensively, Rock and Ground are really good type-wise. And Dunsparce also provides an answer to Ghosts. Vigoroth and Dunsparce, they both can do that pretty well. Since, you know, Vigoroth's got Rock Slide, that means it can fight back against Ghost types, and Dunsparce has a bulky normal typing and doesn't have counter, which helps it out against stuff like Dusclops. Which, shockingly, there are not any Dusclops in this video, which I was expecting to see more of. But anyway, so overall, we have ourselves a Pokemon that doesn't really want to go up against Ghosts, but we have two answers to Ghosts in the back. Vigoroth, because Vigoroth is the #1 ranked Pokemon in this format on PvPoke, pretty much any tier list made by any decent player, you will see Vigoroth being ranked as the best Pokemon in Holiday Cup, which is going to definitely be a trend in almost every almost every limited Great League format. But you know, enough of that. I've talked about that enough. Let's talk about these games. So right now, as you can see, this is just one of many sets I will probably play this season where Dunsparce is awesome. Since Dunsparce resists Shadow Ball, that means that my opponent is forced to throw non-boosted, just normal Disarming Voices, which, you know, not a terrible move, but still one that I think Skeletor should rather not be throwing here. But anyway, we get a ton of energy on Skeletor, which is fantastic. And they're going to bring in the Hisuian Electrode we saw from earlier. Which, because it's part Grass type, that means it's not going to be weak to this Drill Run. But it's still frail enough that that Drill Run will do the job just fine. Let's move on to set number 2, game number 2. This is my, second game. And we're up against a Skarmory here. Now, Skarmory, I will admit, is a bit tricky for this team, just because it does technically edge out Vigoroth in some situations. So my plan here is to just chip down Skarmory enough. I am fine with Palossand tanking a Sky Attack here. And then I'm going to bring in Vigoroth. And, you know, probably flip switch against whoever wants to come in. Because most teams do not have Palossand, you know, they're not really, they're just trying to win against Vigoroth neutrally, which is hard, but doable. But my opponent decides to throw out a spicy Flash Cannon, which is interesting. Which definitely chips my Scorching Sands throwing thingy Palossand to an uncomfortable level. But they decided to go for the Brave Bird, Dip, and come in with Golbat. Now, Shadow Golbat is not a super frail Pokemon, but obviously it does not want to get hit by Vigoroth Rock Slide either. So I'm going to go for the Body Slam, which, with all that being said, is not necessarily a bad choice either, because Body Slam from Vigoroth still hits pretty hard. So it's if they don't shield, it's whatever. But if they do shield, great. I'm taking away their shields. Which is still really great, because that means I can bring in Dunsparce, who, you know, doesn't really take any damage from Shadow Ball. I'm not quite sure why that Body Slam didn't go off, but whatever. Might have been poor timing on my end. But anyway, we're just going to go for the Rock Slides here. Hopefully go for a Farm Down. But this Golbat has quite a bit of energy, so these Poison Fangs are going to add up. That's fine. That's fine, I suppose. I would like to find an opportunity to switch out Dunsparce, because I know they're going to get to a second Poison Fang, probably. But no, we are fine. You know, still, I'd rather not be debuffed, which is, you know, obviously not great. But Dunsparce is awesome, so you'll be fine. Anyway, in comes Lantern. Yet another matchup Dunsparce dominates in, because Dunsparce just outpaces. 2 drill runs pretty cleanly knock it out. I mean, I guess not super cleanly, but you know, it just takes 2 drill runs and a couple of rock slides. Bit of a lag on my phone there. Not quite sure what caused that, but it doesn't matter. My plan here was to catch Shadow Ball on my Palossand, but for whatever reason they didn't throw, which means that you know, I was more happy to get to a Scorching Sands and knock him out. I think they were trying to like just farm me down, but that did not work. That's what they were thinking, I'm sure. Because that would have probably won them the game if they'd gotten that to work. Anyway, in this next game, we're gonna go up against a Toonflame Lead, and normally what we're gonna want to do is go for the Vigoroth swap, because well, this is a bit of a tricky matchup, I'll admit, because it is very bait dependent for Vig, but it is one Vigoroth can win. They're gonna shield this up, which is a very reasonable thing to do. I'm going to make the play here, which I think in retrospect was probably a mistake. I'm going to let Vig go down and bring in Dunsparce to try to get a bunch of energy off. And because Dunsparce definitely wins this, you know. I was fine with being down a shield because, like I said, Dunsparce wins this matchup, especially with an extra shield. And now they're going to switch into Dubwolf, which is not great for us because, you know, Dubwolf's got those double kicks. Which hurt quite a bit. So I'm gonna get hit by. We're gonna throw out a drill run here. Totally fine. Totally fine. I went for a Palossand catch because I was really hoping they were gonna throw a body slam here, which they did not. So that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, I made a couple of mistakes this game. Gonna admit that, but yeah. I probably should have just kept in Vig and gone for the body slam bait, but you know. Again, risky matchup. Yeah, kind of sucks. But anyway. So as for the rest of this game, as far as it goes, I think I played pretty okay. Like, no shit, they're gonna outpace us. They're Dubwolf, they're really fast. So I'm just gonna tank this body slam. We'll shield it, can't tank it. Well, payback. They're going to go for the payback nuke. Interesting play. In comes Toonflame. I wasn't really sure about the energy counts. I figured that they had at least one flame, not flame charge, incinerate. One incinerate. And we're going to go for the rock slide there, of course. Can't really farm them down because rollout just isn't that strong. And in comes Arctibax. If I had gone for the, you know, I think if I had gone, even if I had gone for like the max amount of rollouts there and that Talonflame, I probably still would have lost, just because I would have had to throw 2 rock slides here, would have been energy dry, and Dubwolf would have finished us off. But you know, I think Dunsparce would have definitely been very good against this team if I'd lined up correctly. I couldn't have swapped Dunsparce in there because they would have just thrown out Dubwolf, which would have sucked. But anyway, enough about that. Next game, we are up against another Skarmory Lead. So I'm going to do pretty much the exact same thing I had planned earlier, where it's like I'm going to ship down the Skarmory and then bring in Vig. But surprisingly enough, they actually swap in their own Vig here, which is a pretty horrible play in my opinion, because, again, like you've probably noticed by now, Palossand completely walls Vigoroth. Unless they're running like, I don't know, Bulldoze, which, you know, why would you run Bulldoze on Vigoroth? You give up so much. You give up Talonflame, you give up a lot of things that are probably a bit more important to worry about than Palossand. I'm not saying Palossand was bad. Like I said, I think the Palossand Vig core is legit because Vigoroth beats like almost everything in neutral matchups, and Palossand clears up other Vigoroths, and yeah. I guess a better way to put it would be Vigoroth beats almost everything that Palossand can't. Obviously there are some exceptions of this, like Skarmory is a bit rough for both of them, but that's why I like to play a bit flexibly by having Palossand throw and then have Vigoroth come to finish the job. But anyway, as you can see here, my opponent is running Obstagoon, which is a very interesting spice pick in this format, and I think, to be honest, it's kind of not great, because its typing is really not good in this format, like at all. Loses the Vig, not really great normal type, meh. But, this is fine. We're going to take a Night Slash here. We debuff their attack, but it looks like their attack rose sharply, so they're back to like one stage, but that doesn't really matter a whole lot because Vigoroth will farm them down. They realize that and just say, okay, give up. Which is like fair enough, if you're losing a game, backing out is a nice thing to do. Okay, final game of today's set and the showcase of this core. They're going to bring in a Dubwolf, which is like a bit of a challenging matchup, I will admit. Because Payback hurts like a bitch. They might be running a Wild Charge Dubwolf. Because Wild Charge Dubwolf is, it makes sense in this format. There are a lot of Toonflames after all. A lot of flying types. Dubwolf with Wild Charge definitely has an easier time against those. And the fact they are throwing here is an interesting game plan because, you can see them building up here to a Payback, which fortunately we're gonna catch. As you can see here, double Payback is it's decently strong, of course, but against something not weak to it, it only does like about half, which is about what I would expect for a nuke move. I'm not even sure if Payback is a nuke move or not, but it's decently strong. But as you can see here, we are in the Vigoroth mirror, and we are up a shield, and up on health, and up on energy, which overall means this is a fantastic situation for us. Palossand is going to come in once again to show those Vigoroth safe swaps how it's done, by just farming them down and getting a ton of energy, and resisting everything. Because no one's got the guts to run all those Vigoroth. It's really funny. It's a little bit sad, but we are totally fine. They can throw another Rock Slide if they want. We don't care because we're awesome. Rock Slide number 2, baby, let's go. Totally fine. We are up on. We have so much energy. They can bring in double if they want. I don't care because, well, not only do we have a lot of energy, we resist their double kicks, and yeah, what else? Yeah, that one glitch where it's like you get free energy or free turn if they switch in. That glitch, I don't know when it was added to the game. I don't know if that's always been a thing, but I've definitely been taking advantage of that lately. It's kind of funny, kind of sad. But anyway, as you can see, my opponent is running Lantern. We have 2 shields. They have no shields, and therefore I'm gonna see if I can like 2 shield flex something. Just because it's fun, it's flashy, it's like, hey, Dunsparce is fun, I love Dunsparce. But I'm not featuring 3 Pokemon at once on this team. I kind of want to, but that gets a little bit too confusing for people. But still a very solid Holiday Cup team, I like this one a lot. I'm probably going to use it to ladder. But anyway, I'm going to drill run this Lantern here, which is unfortunately not enough. They're going to hit us with a Surf, which is fine. I totally could have shielded and won the game like right here, but I thought it would be fun to go for a 2 shield flex. So, bye-bye Dunsparce, you did a good job, buddy. In comes Palossand. And I almost went for the BM there with the Shadow Ball, but, Scorching Sands, that's enough. That's enough, right? Alright. Yep, GG's. So overall, like I've said, very fun team. I like this one a lot. Having a hard answer to Vigoroth in this format is really nice because many teams are running Vigoroth right now, including mine, which, for obvious reasons. So, might be a bit of a funny thing to say at the end of a Vigoroth video, but, thank you for watching, my spicy friends, and I hope you always remember to stay spicy. Have a good night.